What do you think about the state of Chicago rap these days?
Chicago rap? I think we always got pioneers in Chicago. We've had a lot of different waves, and I'm excited to see and kind of waiting to see if there's a new thing coming out of Chicago. But
Like a new movement?
Like some new artists, because when me and Chance were coming up doing our thing in the city heavy, I mean, we've had a whole movement of artists from all different angles, and then you had drill as a scene that was like everybody was biting their flows all over, and right now I'm just peeping to see if there's something new coming out of Chicago. That's all.
Do you feel drill is like done? Because you also mentioned that you felt you were a little bit repulsed by the fact that so many people outside the culture of Chicago, they hyped up the music, not knowing that real lives were being affected, deaths and other type of madness happened within the music, and the music was a real life depiction of that. Like, how did you feel about it?
I wanted to slap you in your face, honestly. And I'm just seeing you here, so I'm like, this is a tame environment, so I would keep it to my words, but I really felt as if people exactly like you sensationalized and made a following off of clowning situations that we go through in real life. And I think, niggas ain't had no right. You specifically, like, you ain't never have a right. Like, whatever made you feel like you had a space to have a perspective on our people dying on a daily basis? That's a joke to you?
So, when I saw drill, and you could definitely chime in, when I saw drill was so hyped up by everyone, I had to give a different perspective of what that was for people to realize that's not cool. And whether you agreed with it, right? And again, you're very close, you're involved in it. Chief Keef didn't like me, Dirk didn't like me. I mean, I think they grew to understand that the content was not just negative, right?
No, it was clowning. It was just negative, man.
No.
Like, come on, boy.
You don't think it was nothing constructive about it?
There was nothing constructive about it, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. I really think you're a bitch because.
In what sense?
Because there's a video that you put up about a person named Trey 57. Making all these jokes. Oh, here's another Chirac Savage. Like, this guy's stupid. He messed with the Grim Reaper. Like, nigga, this is not a video game. That's a nigga I grew up with. I've known since I was 5 years old. And to see you come on the internet and, like, with this corny ass little voice and make jokes about it, like, I was waiting to see you. And it's a couple people waiting to see you. I heard you say you didn't want to come to Chicago when I sat down, because you clearly don't, because you really couldn't even stand outside. You get chased out the mall.
Wait, I do get love in Chicago though.
Like, I mean, out the mall, DJ Akademiks.
I mean, truth be told, there's a mixed reaction.
You can't deal with that.
All right, then let's get started. So the clip that we just opened up with is from Everyday Struggle, episode 141 with DJ Akademiks and Joe Budden. Vic Mensa was the guest for the day, and as y'all can see, he definitely had a problem with DJ Akademiks and how he addressed a few things regarding Chicago in the past, especially his War on Chirac series. Anybody who hasn't, looked up those clips, they're definitely still online, so hit that YouTube search and you'll kind of see what he's talking about. But before we even get there, I realize a lot of people who are like real deal fans of DJ Akademiks and the content that he puts up online, they seem to hate Everyday Struggle, which is pretty interesting. Because like I was going through the comments, I always go through the comments whenever I watch the show. It's a pretty damn good show. It's like ESPN for hip hop heads. But as I'm going through the comments, I keep seeing a lot of these people, pretty much begging DJ Akademiks to quit the show, saying Complex is trying to ruin his career, or they're trying to ruin his internet buzz. All this is like bad for his career. I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't agree. I really don't think I agree at all. Like, first things first, I don't think the guests are being chosen to like take down Akademiks. Like, I'm pretty sure Complex didn't decide to hire Ak just to try to defame him or just to try to ruin him. I feel like it's the opposite. Like, I feel like Complex picking up Akademiks was actually a good move on theirs, and it was like a good merger for both, where Akademiks already has clearly the bigger following and clearly the more loyal following, but the situation is that Complex gives him something that he doesn't have, which is legitimacy. Like, here's the thing. Yes, to people in our age group, the concept of being like a YouTube journalist or, being somebody who's a social media, purveyor, it's legitimate for us. But what happens is when you get a big network name behind you, somebody backing you that really actually has, like, the whites in the front office, you look better. That's really just how it works. Like, as much as we want to stay away from radio, we want to claim that all these old ways don't work, you still need that legitimacy that some place like Complex can offer you. And those who disagree, of course, feel free to hop into the comments section. But yeah, I don't feel like these guests are being chosen to like take down Ak. Because like even before Vic Mensa, let's take it back a little bit. The situation with SZA, right? SZA had no beef with Ak prior to like their interview. And for the most part, I really don't think anybody would have ever guessed that anything would have transpired between the two of them. What ended up happening is that like some comments that he made in a video prior to her showing up to the show ended up getting some feedback afterwards that kind of spun things out of control. He used I think the term Amazon bitch or something, which from what I heard, I listened to the whole clip. I don't think he was trying to disrespect SZA. I feel like it was taken out of context. But when enough people take something out of context and spin it, by the time it gets to the person who I guess the message was about, it's always going to be hard as hell for you to convince that person otherwise, But keeping on topic, that takes us back to the Vic Mensa situation. Now, him sitting down for a face-to-face with Ak, a lot of people didn't know. Like, I know I didn't, and I'm pretty sure like Nadeska said she didn't. I'm pretty sure Joe had no idea. I don't think Vic Mensa ever articulated his feelings about Akademiks in public, so I don't think anybody could have ever known. That's something that can't really be avoided. Yet again, not saying I'm a big fan of Complex, not saying I'm anti-Complex either. I don't think this has anything to do with them. I think this is something that just had to happen. Like this. These are growing pains that DJ Akademiks is going through, which are necessary because it's a shift in platform. What it boils down to, honestly, is that DJ Akademiks is just one of those guys who's a strong voice for the new generation. Like, he's a very big proponent of the newer, younger waves of hip hop, and a lot of internet heavy fans really clung to him because for the most part he gave a lot of people a lot of media attention that they wouldn't have been getting elsewhere on any other platform. He created a platform for the voiceless, and for the most part those people are really like diehard fans of his, so he moves in a certain way that is conducive to that. Now here's where he runs into problems. You got to think he is a YouTube personality, meaning that all his videos are just him. For the most part, nobody knew what he even looked like before Everyday Struggle, other than the people who checked out his streams and his Twitch videos or whatever. But for the most part, people really didn't even know, like they couldn't attach a face to the voice. The big difference between that and another medium like, radio interviews and TV shows and things like that, when you share an opinion on YouTube, at most what you could get is like some hate mail, some comments, maybe a threatening email or two or something like that, or somebody trying to like just kind of boss up on you in your comment section. That's pretty easy to ignore. There's a big difference between that and saying a comment, saying a hot take one week, and then the next week you gotta explain what you meant by that when this nigga shows up on your show, like Charlemagne and the Birdman situation, or what he dealt with Star in the past. Now that he's an in-person personality, is a whole different field, and he's gonna have to deal with the consequences of what he said for the past few years. There's a lot of people that have been listening to his content for years and never had a way to respond to him. Not really. This is going to be their chance. And now they can handle it one of many ways. Some people, they're not that thin-skinned, so they take it on they take it on the chin and keep moving. A lot of artists are sensitive, and a lot of artists, especially artists that are heavily in dealing with street situations and shit like that, they ain't really trying to hear all that, dog. Like, just being real. To me, this is the beginning of a long struggle. Funny, I guess pun fully intended. He definitely is going to deal with an everyday struggle as long as he's on that show. Because, god damn it. You got to think, right? How many rappers really don't fuck with this nigga Akademiks? Like, when you really think about it, he has a long list of people that I'm pretty sure if they hollered at Complex will book him. Now, I don't think that's Complex trying to be messy. I don't think that's Complex trying to set him up for failure. I feel like these are just mainstream artists that have clout. So why wouldn't you want them on your platform? Now, the situation is that now he has to learn how to conduct himself in the face of that. Like, do I think he handled himself terribly in the Vic Mensa situation? Not really. Like, I don't think he was that bad. For the most part, he was willing to speak. He was willing to talk. I think the worst thing that happened to him was that he was more blindsided by the incident, and he's not used to it yet. He's not used to sitting in the fire yet, sitting in that hot seat with somebody who hates your fucking guts and want to put hands on you right next to you. And what makes it worse is when you got somebody like Joe Budden who's taking advantage, who, is kind of adding fuel to the fire a little bit while you're sitting there and trying to deal with the situation. I definitely don't fuck with what Joe did, because for the most part, he wasn't necessary. Like, Joe was making the situation worse, if anything, being honest. Like, it really wasn't necessary. But, those are just my thoughts on that. Feel free to comment below. Let me know what you think. Just, I guess, giving you a general, concise answer. I don't think Complex has anything against Akademiks, and I really don't think they're trying to set him up for failure. And I do think this is a great move for his career. Now, is it an easy move? Hell no. Is it some comfortable shit? No. Would I want to be doing what he's doing? Eventually, yeah. But would I want to be dealing with what he's dealing with? Fuck no. I don't think anybody does. We all say things. We all judge people. We all say blunt things sometimes. Well, all the real niggas I know. We all have opinions. The problem is when you got to sit there and deal with somebody who's overly emotional about an opinion that you have. Not everybody can do that and come out looking clean. Not everybody's able to really have those, high intensity conversations without either A, putting hands on somebody, or B, coming out looking like a bitch. So it's tough to do, man. It takes a lot of poise. It takes a lot of intelligence, and the biggest, most important thing in this whole situation would be patience. Like, that's really, it takes hella patience and willpower, man. More power to him. I see that he's been growing as the show continues. I'm hoping for his sake that he continues to grow. I don't think this is going to be that big of a situation. Like, for the most part, it looks like something that it had to happen. Like, every once in a while, you need them chin checks to grow. So I am curious to see what happens after this, but or where he takes this next. Like I said, leave comments below. Holla at your boy. Later days.